Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We want to welcome you to the 2024 Greene County Athletic Hall of Fame program. We're delighted to welcome our inductees, their families and friends, as well as the Greene County community to tonight's program. 2024 marks the fourth class to be inducted into Greene County Athletic Hall of Fame, and it's exciting to honor these individuals tonight and celebrate their accomplishments and contributions to Greene County athletics. In addition to tonight's ceremony, we'll be recognizing our inductees during the halftime of the girls' varsity basketball game tomorrow at approximately 6:30. So we invite you to come out for that as well. You don't have to give a speech tomorrow if you're going to be able to stick around for it. So that'll be an introduction. We'll just let the crowd know. There's a few thank yous I want to go through before we get started here. First of all, I want to thank Misty Betty. Misty is my administrative assistant, and she does a fantastic job. She set up the table and arranged for the meeting and the greet and meet out there this evening. So let's give Misty a round of applause for the work that she does. It's very much appreciated. Also want to thank the Hall of Fame committee of Sid Jones, Teresa Greene, Rosemary Hoyt, Mavis Sawhill, Chad Morton, and Doug Reeder, and there's a few of them here tonight, so I thank you for your time and your willingness to serve on that committee. And then last but not least, our Ram restaurant provided the food or fixed the food for tonight. Those are some of our students that get an opportunity for real life lessons, and we want to thank Ram Restaurant for doing that for us. And so without further ado, we'll get into tonight's program and the induction of our five outstanding athletes throughout the history of Greene County. First off, we have David Hagedorn. He is a 1979 graduate of Jefferson High School. He made his mark on the wrestling mat for the Rams as a three-time state qualifier, placing fifth as a junior and winning the Class 2A state 155-pound title his senior year, becoming the Rams' first state champion. Over his career, David compiled a 100-win, 12-loss career record. In his last 2 years as a Ram, he only lost once. He was also undefeated in dual meets all 4 years of high school. In addition to being our first state champion, he became the school's first Division I wrestler as he headed to Utah State. While there, he amassed an 88-24 record. He was a two-time NCAA tournament qualifier and a two-time conference champion. He also lettered all 4 years of college and was named captain of the Utah State wrestling team twice. And in 1983, he was named the Utah State Sportsman of the Year, which was an award given to the outstanding scholar athlete over all the sports at Utah State. He's been a physician for 35 years, being certified in emergency medicine and wound care. He was named Outstanding Emergency Medicine Physician in Missouri in 2013. He currently resides in Joplin, Missouri with his wife, Teresa, their daughter, Sarah, and husband, Brady, along with grandchildren, Brody and Brooks, that live close by. He's the son of Rosemary and Harry Hagedorn. Harry was a coach while you were for years here at Jefferson High School and taught mathematics. I had him in class, and he was a tremendous teacher. And he has three siblings, Mark, Chris, and Sandra, and Ruth. So 4 siblings, sorry. Let's see Mr. Hagedorn taught me math. I don't think that was probably the first time I would have disappointed him in math class. All right, let's welcome David Hagedorn to the Greene County Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Figured maybe as the elder statesman here, I could go last, but it's not going to work. Nobody else has cheaters. Yeah, exactly. Well, hello. And thanks for having me. And first of all, I would like to thank Doug Reeder for the nomination, and of course the nominating committee for giving me this honor. There's been enormous amount of very talented athletes come through Greene County over the years. So this is a great privilege. I'm also very excited to be standing here on this particular place. As people that have been here for a while may remember that this entire property used to be the old Hagedorn Farm, and this is kind of the east 80 of the property. And so I spent too many hours toiling this soil here. And as I mentioned to Scott Shriver, who's here, who's an excellent farmer, I wasn't a very good farmer, and and I knew where I didn't want to end up, and so it all works out in the end. I mentioned my dad, Harry Hagedorn. As you know, he was a teacher here, but an incredible man, father, husband, mathematician, farmer, and guarantee 100% if it wasn't for my father, I wouldn't be here. And fortunately, he passed away a few years back, and so he's not able to be here. But certainly, I dedicate this to my father. Oops. So I had many, not only my father, but many other influences as I started wrestling, starting in the fourth grade. And like I said, my father started everything out. He purchased a little folding mat from AMF and put it in our basement, and it just kind of started from there. But if you knew my dad, he weighed at least 250 pounds. He looked like 400 pounds. Standing next to him, forearms this big, and he spent his adolescence moving cement and wheelbarrows and milking cows by hand. So he had some awe-inspiring forwards, and so wrestling has a lot of interesting terminology. And when you wrestle with somebody, you don't actually say that you're going to roll around. And it sounds a little strange, but trying to roll around with my dad was not very good at that point. I weighed about 50 pounds. He rolled over me and crushed me. So we needed to find somebody that I could wrestle with. And it was kind of tough going, 50 pounds in the early 70s here in Jefferson. So he recruited my little sister, baby Ruthie. And, she's in the back there. And another terminology that we used in wrestling was counting the lights. And part of wrestling is you want to try to expose your opponent's back, turn them on to and pin them. And so if you're being pinned, you're looking up at and counting the lights. And with Ruth, for the first 2 years, I spent a whole heck of a lot of time counting lights. And, she was a world beater in wrestling. Unfortunately, this was 1970, 71. Still a little bit too early for girls and females to wrestle. So she never really got to expand on that. But she definitely would have been an amazing wrestler had she had a chance. Sorry. So this kind of family support and challenging each other resulted in a kind of what I'd call a family culture of dedication, hard work, and competing at kind of the highest level. All of my siblings, Ruth, Sandra, Chris, and Mark, all won numerous titles across multiple sports. And actually, the first sport we all started in was swimming. And tickled to see Kathy Shriver here and Scott, who I swam with, and Paula. And Kathy and Mom spent hours and hours and hours and days and weeks carting us all over as we started to swim. And but about 12, I decided that swimming wasn't for me, and I wanted to kind of move over to wrestling instead. So we found that if we trained hard, competed hard, winning would follow. And before I go on, I need to give a big shout out to my mom, who couldn't make it today because of some medical issues. But I swear that woman probably drove 1,000,000 miles following all 5 kids to all the various sporting events. She was an incredibly devoted mother and fan. And most people, well, I didn't watch her in the audience. I was told multiple times that she was a lot more entertaining to watch in the audience than I was on the mat. She was up there in on the bleachers, you know, yanking heads, doing arm drag, singles, doubles, you name it. She was just kind of going at it up in the bleachers, and oops, and she was a wonderful mother. So just a sec. Sorry, everybody. So along with other thank yous, again, this is a night of thank yous. I'd like to thank Coach Kinley and his wonderful wife, Chris, who's many of you know, he's an amazing teacher, administrator, and of course, wrestling coach. And he taught me the groundwork and provided a lot of instruction that allowed me to succeed both on and off the mat. Summers, as I grew up, it was a tradition to go to Lake Okoboji for summer wrestling camps, and Coach Kinley was a clinician and a counselor there, and he had close ties to the Iowa State wrestling program, and they were kind of the tops back then. They're kind of up and down now, but they continue to really turn out great wrestlers. But I think a lot of kids have kind of aha moments when they're trying to go to the next level. And thanks to Coach Kinley, I had one of those. I was awestruck with all the clinicians, a lot of NC2A All-Americans, Olympic wrestlers, and there were literally hundreds of wrestlers, and it was kind of hard to stand out. And but much to my surprise, after one afternoon session, one of the clinicians asked me to stick around after the session to roll around, and obviously I was ecstatic. And this particular wrestler was a 3-time NC2A All-American, won nationals as a senior, and then went on to coach successfully at University of Michigan for over 2 decades. And I'm sure John and Chris know that I'm speaking about Dale Barr. Not a household name, but he mentioned a couple things after we'd wrestled for a few minutes. One is that, and this wasn't critical, but he said, "Don't live and die with a heel pick," which is just a wrestling move that you could get away with on some people, but not the higher level wrestlers. And then he also said that if I worked really, really hard, that I could be good in the future. And so I kind of took that and really never looked back. And so that was really an awakening for me. So once I committed to wrestling, Dad traveled throughout the Midwest to take me to various wrestling tournaments and try to get as many matches as I could. Unfortunately, between my sophomore and junior year in high school, I was at a freestyle tournament. There's two types of, well, actually three: freestyle, folk style, which is what you do in high school and college, and then Greco is where you can't touch them below the waist. But this was actually freestyle, and there's quite a few throws. And fortunately, I got thrown onto my left shoulder and head, and that pain in my neck and my whole left arm was dead. I couldn't lift it, couldn't bend it, couldn't do a thing with it. Figured it was just kind of a stinger. Had a few of those in football. Sat on the wall of the gym waiting for it to get better, and it didn't. And back in those days, a paralyzed arm didn't create nearly the commotion that it would nowadays. We went home, spent the weekend, and then went to see our family practice doc on Monday, Doc Marshall, and he examined me and said that I'd had a spinal cord injury and injured my upper cervical, C3, 4, and 5, and he basically said that 5-6 months it'd get better or it wouldn't, and I'd just have a dead arm. And so I spent the next month or two going all over state of Iowa trying to figure out what it was, if there's anything they could do to fix it. And as it turns out, Doc Marshall was right. There wasn't much to do except for wait and watch. And so my dad and I had a routine each morning, and he'd check my grip strength, what I could do with my arm, shoulder, and each day he would say, "Oh, you're getting better, you're getting better." And so I kept going and going and going, and I never knew my dad to lie, but now that I look back, he definitely was lying. Nothing was getting better. And, but sure enough, just like Doc Marshall said, about 5-6 months, I actually started to get better and kind of regained the strength in that left arm. Thank God. And so, and while this didn't really change necessarily the course of my illness, it certainly had great experiences with all the medical care people that I encountered during this injury, and decided at that point that I would pursue a medical career one way or the other. And so wrestling kind of helped open that door in kind of an unusual and odd way. So while I know wrestling is just a sport, I think the sport can shape you as a person. Sports can create circumstances that happen in everyday life. Learning to succeed in sports will definitely put you 1 foot ahead and succeeding. I'll finish with just giving shout outs to great friends and family members. Ruth, my little sister, came in from Coeur d'Alene. Dr. Tom Bieber and his wife Lisa, he was our 118-pounder at Utah State, came down from Clear Lake. The Shrivers are here. The Kinleys are here, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. Of course, my beautiful wife Teresa, who kind of coordinated a lot of this. And with that, I will close and thank you.
Our next inductee will be Nancy Wynn. Nancy is a 1996 graduate of Jefferson Scranton High School. During her softball career, Nancy was named first team All-State in both 1995 and 1996. As a senior, she batted .369 with 5 doubles, 3 triples. She scored 22 runs and had 25 RBI. In addition to that, she had 11 stolen bases, 12 sacrifices, and she only struck out 6 times in 103 at-bats. As a catcher, she recorded 16 putouts and 15 assists. She was selected to play in the Coaches Association All-Star Game after her senior year. And while in that game, she was able to throw out a runner trying to steal in an all-star game as well. Her junior campaign was just as impressive as she batted .303 with 5 triples, 28 RBI, and scored 25 runs. In those days, the Rams played in Class 2A, as there were only 3 classes. And during that time, Nancy was named, they used to do an all-state team for the all-class team, and she was named to the 3rd team of the all-class team, meaning she was considered the 3rd best catcher in the state of Iowa across all the classes. Nancy was part of 3 straight winning seasons for the Rams. Her sophomore year, the Rams won the Ballard Tournament, which was probably a highlight of that run, where they defeated 4 ranked teams, including number 1 ranked Carlisle, in which Nancy hit a 3-run double off of Penny Cope, who, if you're familiar with softball in those days, was an all-state pitcher and would go on to pitch for the University of Alabama to lead the Rams to a 3-2 win. I believe that's what that ended up. In her adult life, Nancy has been working at Texas Health Presbyterian of Dallas for over 20 years. She's been a board-certified orthopedic nurse since 2005. She has been a nominee for several nursing excellence awards, and has received the Catherine G. Jackson Award for Clinical Excellence and the Ada Yale Mar Excellence in Acute Care Nursing Award, both coming in 2009. And in 2012, she was named to the list of Great 100 Nurses. She currently lives in Richardson, Texas, and spends her off time volunteering at food banks, museums, and arboretums. She is a proud aunt to 10 nieces and nephews. Let's welcome Nancy Wynn to the Greene County Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. Bring this down a little bit. For having me back in Jefferson. I wanted to thank you, the committee, for this wonderful honor, and also for having me back. I am forever grateful to the Jefferson community for embracing our family from the time that we stepped foot on the ground to Iowa from Vietnam. You've always provided support in so many meaningful ways, helping my parents find work, teaching us the language and the culture. You've shown us love in the gift of food from your kitchens and your gardens. You've rallied around us when we struggled, as well as celebrate our achievements throughout our lives here in Jefferson. I also would like to say thank you to my family, my mother, who is the pillar of strength for all of us. She has gotten us through everything ever since we were kids, and she has weathered it all with us. I'd like to thank my sisters who are here with me in celebrating this moment with me. They've been my cheerleaders, my brothers for being my practice mates. They were the ones that threw the ball around with me in the yard. I remember seeing Coach Sawhill across the street and Coach Ball also across the street watching us as we practice. Sports, and especially softball, had a tremendous impact for me. It gave me purpose. It taught me perseverance, persistence. It gave me a sense of belonging. I remember walking across town in the hot summer days to get to practice and to games. It was hard work, but I knew that I had something to look forward to, had a passion for softball. I remember working after school to pay for my gear and for shoes so I could have nice cleats to play in. I came to practice early, and I stayed late to hone my skills back in the days. And I appreciated the coaches and the teammates that stayed to work with me. My immigrant parents were not big supporters of girls in sports, but for a lost young girl like myself, I found happiness and I found pride in wearing that red and black uniform. My coaches and my teammates who support on and off the field, Coach Vanderwilt, Coach Lautner, Coach McPherson, Coach Kunst, and many other coaches along the way in other sports, and the educators that helped to guide my way through my career. But they always made me feel like I was a part of a championship team back when I played. I will always carry all these wonderful lessons and memories with me, even through my years here working as an orthopedic nurse. I still carry that through in serving my community now, in volunteering and working with the underprivileged. So I thank you for this honor. Thank you again.
Our next inductee is Isaac Gannon. Isaac is a 2002 graduate of East Greene High School and made his mark on the football field. He was named to the first team All-State 8-player team twice, once as a running back after his junior campaign, and following that up as an All-State defensive back his senior year. As a junior, Isaac ran for 1,242 yards to lead all 8-player rushers. He averaged 6.4 yards per carry, scored 24 touchdowns, and scored 154 total points. All of that done in just 8 games. He followed that up his senior year with 1,236 yards rushing, averaging 6.8 yards per game with 33 touchdowns. As a defensive back his senior year, he picked off 7 passes. During his time in a Hawk uniform, he played on East Greene's best 8-player teams, leading them to their first winning season in 10 years in 2001. Isaac currently lives in Ogden with his wife Jill, daughter Greta, twin sons Alex and Blake. He has been a heavy equipment operator for Boone County Secondary Roads for 14 years, and he spends his free time coaching his kids in their various sports. He is the son of Rick and Lori. Let's give a warm welcome to Isaac Gannon to the Greene County Hall of Fame.
First, I'd like to thank Doug for the nomination and the committee for bringing an East Green person in with my boy. I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants guy, so I don't have anything prepared. I'd like to thank my mom and dad, Rick and Lori, my sisters, Jessica, Bridget, Emily, and my role model, Nick. I wore 34 because he wore 34. I wanted to be just like him. And I'd like to thank all my coaches, especially my track coach, Dean Lyons. Speed, agility, all that good stuff. Need that in the football field. And we had co-head coaches. Don't see that very often, but we only had 2 coaches at East Greene. Offensive coordinator, Coach Tim Bardole, and defensive coordinator, Coach Tony Beard. Looking back, I didn't think much of it. But, looking now, see all them coaches on the sidelines, and, you got specialist coach, you got strength coach, you got this, you got that. Those 2 guys sacrificed a lot for us too. And I greatly, greatly appreciate that. Next, I'd like to thank all my teammates. Huge shout out to my boy, Joby Hoskinson. He's my fullback. I followed him around quite a bit. Sometimes I had to tell him where to go, but he always got us there. Huge shout out to all my offensive linemen, all my teammates. All those yards and all those touchdowns wouldn't have been possible without them. Every game you have crucial 3rd downs, you have crucial 4th downs, you've got to have it. There were 3 guys on our team. If we needed something, that's the direction we were running. We got my center, Andrew Burkett, called Big Thighs, guard, Matthew Gunn, and my boy right there, Dustin Fouch. If we needed something in a game, they knew it, we knew it, but we were riding behind those 3 boys. And I couldn't be happier to go in to this with Dustin Fouch. And I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Special shout out to my family, my wife Jill, my daughter Greta, and my 2 boys. Hopefully one day you can follow in what your dad's footsteps are, whatever you want to think. But I want to thank everybody, and especially everybody at East Greene for coaching us, teaching us the right things. So thank you.
Our next inductee will be Dustin Fouch. He's also a 2002 graduate of East Greene High School. And while Isaac was racking up all of his yards, Dustin was paving the way for him as an offensive lineman. He was twice named to the 8-player All-State first team during his junior and senior years at East Greene. 4 of their 6 losses came at the hands of state champion Adair Casey. And while there are no official stats for offensive linemen, which there should be because that's the best position there is, seems like you only notice linemen when things aren't going well. So Dustin anchored the line that produced the leading rusher in the state for their division. And on defense, he played defensive end and recorded 11 sacks. Since graduating from Iowa State with a degree in agricultural studies, he's made a name for himself in the seed sales business. And in fact, we kind of ripped him away from another award that he was going to be presented this week in a much warmer climate. But he decided he wanted to be here, so we do appreciate that. And sorry it didn't work out, but congratulations on that award. In 2007, Dustin and his wife Megan started Fouch Agri Service in downtown Grand Junction. They become one of the largest channel seeds dealerships in the state. Dustin and Megan, along with their daughters Hannah, Haley, Harper, and Hattie, live on their family farm in the Grand Junction area. They farm in partnership with Dustin's parents, Doug and Jody Fouch. Let's welcome Dustin Fouch to the Greene County.
Wow. I thought I could do this off the cuff, but then I got afraid I'd get up here and forget what I was going to say. So about an hour before I showed up, I just typed stuff down. But likewise, like these guys are saying, I'd like to start off and thank the Greene County School District and the Greene County Athletic Department for the nomination. It really means a lot, especially when they let a couple Grand Junction Farm kids in at the same time. That's pretty cool. Megan and I are both Grand Junction kids, and we're just happy to have this recognition for East Greene. So that really meant a lot more than anything. A few thank yous along the way. I'd like to thank my mom and dad, Doug and Jody. Dad, you taught me the gift of work ethic, always pushing me to be my best, how to grind, showing me what hard work was and what it can create. Thank you, Dad. My mom, thank you for teaching me the art of street smarts. My kids know what that means. How to talk to absolutely anyone and feel comfortable. Thank you for my sense of humor and my joke-telling skills. I'm not sure if Jody Fouch has ever sold anything to anybody, but I've learned almost everything I know about sales from my mother. Walk into a room and own it, never meet a stranger, and always be confident. My sister, Heidi, is here. She was my only competition growing up. She's all I had. I had my little sister, undefeated in any yard sport we ever played. Even if we had to go from a best of 3 to a best of 5 to a best of 7 until I finally beat you, I am undefeated, Heidi. Heidi will be in. Heidi's I'd call her she's the star of the family. She'll be in many Hall of Fames in her life. In the optometry world, she does amazing things, and I'm proud that you're my sister. So thank you. Thanks for letting me beat you all those years. I hope it paid off. I'd like to thank my former teammates and coaches from East Greene. We had a lot of good coaches over the years. Coach Beeger, Coach Bardole, Coach Silliman, Coach and Principal Ron McNeil. I think about him all the time. He taught a guy a lot of street smarts. Things you don't read in a book. My teammates, we had a really good ride. We had a great 2-year run, probably one of the best 2-year runs in East Greene history, and I was lucky to be part of it. It was a lot of fun. But most importantly, I'd like to thank my wife, Megan, fellow classmate of East Greene 2002, and the homecoming queen. I bet she does not want me to talk about that. Me and Megan go way back. She's been on my side for over 20 years, and 35 if you go back to kindergarten together. Megan's always been my biggest fan and teammate. In high school, college, and now in this game of farming and running a business and trying to be a parent to our 4 great kids. And last but not least, our kids. Hannah, Haley, Harper, Hattie, all students here at Greene County. I'm so proud of all 4 of you girls, and I can't wait to see what kind of exciting things you will do in the school district and beyond in life. Just keep listening to your mother and not me, and your path will be so much easier. Me and Meg do a really good job of playing good cop, bad cop with our kids, and I'm the fun dad, but she's got all the rules, and she's always right. A little story time. I thought I got to tell a few stories that just stick out. And when I got the phone call from David about this, and man, it brought back a lot of memories. And throughout the day, I just kind of got to thinking about some things I hadn't thought of in 20 years. And I won't say the school we played, but it's something I've told the story so many times, and it's so funny. But our senior year, I mean, we were off to a hot start. We came out of the gate ranked. We were in the top 10 every week in the Des Moines Register poll. And pre-internet, pre-Twitter and Facebook and all that was a big deal. I remember waiting for that Sunday paper to see where we were ranked. Of course, the coaches say, "Don't look at the rankings." No. I remember one time we had a really tough freshman sophomore year, and then as we got older, we got better. And I remember Isaac scores this touchdown this one game. This isn't part of the story. And he kind of, Deion Sanders high steps in the end zone, and Coach Beer goes, grabs him by the face, and he goes, "Act like you've won before." And Isaac goes, "We never have, Coach." And we were just getting this taste of winning, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But anyway, our senior year, we hadn't won before, but we were starting to. And it was a lot of fun, and we'd never really won anything before. But man, we put in the time in the weight room those 2 summers, and we really focused on getting better and getting bigger. And it was really fun to see it pay off. And I remember going into that football season being ranked in the top 10. That was unlike an East Greene team to be. So we were really excited. And anyway, we lost the first game to what would be the state champ. But later in the year, we went on this real hot streak, and we were 4-1, 5-1, something like that. And we kept going up in the rankings. And I remember that week we had a road game, and we didn't think they were very good. And the coaches all week, I mean, we were watching film, and they're like, "You guys better get your heads on straight. This team's going to bite you. They got a good running back, and they are going to sneak up on you if you guys don't take this serious." And we just all week, we couldn't take it serious, and we just kind of didn't really do much, screwed around a lot looking back. We go to the game, and man, they come right out, and they punch us right in the mouth, and we're down 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. And now we're kind of like, we should have had a better week of practice. Coach wasn't lying, Get in that second quarter, and it don't get any better. I think we go into halftime, and we're down maybe 17-6 or something like that. We're getting beat. And I'll never forget Coach Beeger. He gets us all in the circle, and he goes, all week we've been telling you guys that this team's good, that this team is going to sneak up on you. This team's talented, and if you don't wake up, they're going to bite you. Well, guess what? We were feeding you full of crap all week. This team sucks, and you should be beating them by 50 points. And we all got pumped up, and we went out there, and man, we went right out of the gate, and we really put it to them. And Matt Gunn hits the running back. This had all their touchdowns. He hit him so hard, and this poor kid falls on the ground, and he's hurt, and everybody's calling for the ambulance. And this poor little town's fire department rescue unit, they bring the ambulance out on the field. And here they come, and we kind of get away, and they park this kid's laying on the ground. They park the ambulance exhaust right by this kid's head. And the guy goes, "You got to pull the ambulance." So they pull it ahead. And this guy comes around, and he opens those back ambulance doors, and beer cans fall out of the back of the ambulance. Anyway, they got him in there, and they got him sent off, and I think he's fine. But anyway, we ended up 50 in that. We ended up 50 pointing them and going home early. But that was one of the best halftime speeches. It was like the most honest thing, and I'll never forget it. It was quite the halftime speech. My second story that year, the second game of the year, was against Elkhorn Kimballton, and they were the #1 ranked team in the state that year, and they had been the best team in our conference for a long time, and they'd put a pretty good whooping on us the year before, and they were coming into Grand Junction, and it was a top 5 battle, and we really thought, if we could win that game, we might have a chance to make the state tournament, and we were pumped and we were hyped up. And that game started, I'll never forget it. It started, and I can't, a lot of it's a fog, but the weather, there was bad weather on a Friday night, and it was rolling in, and the game ended up getting lightninged out. And I can't remember if we were ahead or behind. Isaac would know. We were tied, okay. So anyway, lightning. We all have to go to the garage on the side where they put the equipment. And we're so pumped up, and we want to go play, and this lightning won't let up, and now here comes the rain and more lightning. And every time it lightning, it like reset the clock. And then we had to wait for so long after lightning, and eventually they called the game. So our coaches and their coaches got together, and be the #1 team in the state, and we're like number 5. And they called the game, and we thought they were going to cancel it. Like, are we going to end in a tie? Like, nobody wants to tie, And later that night, they found out that they said, we're going to replay the game on Monday Night Football in Grand Junction. And I mean, we were really pumped. Not a lot of Monday Night Football. It was probably the only Monday Night Football game in Grand Junction ever. Well, what that did, and I didn't realize it, is we were 2 of the top teams in the state, and people came from all over. Other teams in our district, our conference, the Jefferson Scranton guys came. There was buses and people all around on all 4 sides of the football field in Grand Junction. And it was just, one of the neatest environments I've ever been in or ever played in. And it gives me shivers, talking about it. And we went on, and we got behind. We came back, and Isaac did something amazing. I can't remember. And we win the game right at the end. And I remember it came down to a defensive stand. And we held them on 4th down, and we won the game. Did we win by 2? We won by 2. And everybody stormed the field, and it was just the most magical night and probably the coolest sports experience of my life. And, usually on a Friday night, you can go out and party and have a good time because it's Saturday morning. Of course, I remember being just hurting and Dad put me to work on Saturday morning. But I remember you didn't have to go to school. Well, the next day was Tuesday. And I could not wait to get to school the next day. They were going to have a pep rally. They were going to have us all down there. It was going to be just the greatest day. Like, we thought they were just going to not even have school, just celebrate beating the #1 team in the state. And I remember waking up and watching a plane hit the World Trade Center. And the next day was September 11th. And, at the time, didn't really know what quite was going on. And Heidi got in with me, and we went into school. We're probably running late. Cows out. And I'll never forget, I got into Jan Sherrington's novels class. There was a newspaper class. And I'm just pumped, and we go in there, and Mrs. Sherrington goes, sit down and shut up and watch the TV. And a second plane had hit. And that whole rest of the day, and really, every day from there on out had changed. And that was, I'll never forget that night against Elkhorn Kimballton kind of being like the last normal night before things weren't normal anymore. So that's just another thing that sticks out to me. Anyway, sorry about this. I could tell stories all night long. One quick thing, and I'll just go into a little bit after high school. We got recruited quite a bit. When you're playing 8-man football and you're kind of taller than everybody, you probably stick out a little bit. And I started getting some interest from some colleges. Mom was always pumped. We were getting these letters in the mail and different colleges and such. And I remember we got one from Iowa State and Iowa and a few others. And I got invited to Ames to a football game. And I remember me and my dad went, and I was pumped. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be really cool. And it was. I remember getting there and meeting all the coaches and this coach that was recruiting, and got to meet Coach McCarney. And I'll never forget. Coach Matt comes up and we get to talking, and they liked Iowa guys. They wanted some Iowa guys on their team. They might not have played, but they wanted some Iowa guys on their team. And I was only half hour away, and it seemed like a pretty good deal. And I remember Coach Matt coming up to me, and he said, hey, yep. Justin called me, not Dustin. Justin, we've been watching you, and I tell you what, young man, we'd like you to come in here. We'd like you to redshirt. We'd like you to put about 40 pounds on. We're going to get you strong, and we're going to get you mean, and we really think we can move you over the defensive line. We think you can play defensive line in the Big 12. We just got to get 40 pounds on you, and we got to get you faster. I'm like, okay, oh, wow, okay. And I remember sitting there with Dad, and it was fun. We went to a lot of those, Dad, and sitting on the Jacobson building and looking out. And I remember looking out at the student section, and they were having a blast. And I'd never really seen anything like that before, and the students were just having a good old time, and they were just hooting and hollering, and I'm, wow, that was really fun. Well, anyway, we're eating, and we look over, and here comes a plane must have landed at the Ames airport. And here comes what I assume is a whole plane load of 5-star athletes out of Texas or Florida or somewhere. And the coaching staff just flocks over to him. And I'll never forget Coach Woodley at the time goes to this guy, he goes, "We'd like to trim you down about 30 pounds and put you on the defensive line." And I looked over at the one guy, and looked over at the other guy, and I looked out at that student section, and I thought, you know what? That student section don't look that bad. And that was the end of my college career. No, that was the end of my football career after that. Still went to Iowa State and enjoyed every moment of it. One little follow-up, I was at a booster fundraiser, golf deal for Iowa State about 8 years ago, and I ran into Coach Mack. He lives in Florida, and he came back for it, and we were talking to a bunch of coaches, and he came up and shook my hand. I said, "Coach Mack, you probably don't remember me, but you recruited me back when I was in high school." I said, "I just went to a little high school about a half hour away." And of course, "Oh yeah, I remember you, young man." I said, "Yeah." I said, I thought you'd like to know. You told me you'd like to put 40 pounds on me and make me a little bit faster." "Coach, I did one. I went to Iowa State, and I did put 40 pounds on, but I didn't get any faster. And I didn't play football either." So anyway, in closing, I'd just like to close in just something that I think is important, and I see it all the time in my daily job and in people that I work with, but it's the importance of team sports. And me and Isaac were really lucky to go to East Greene in the late 90s and the early 2000s, and a lot of people that went to a lot of smaller rural schools, there's pros and cons, but one of the definite pros of going to some of these smaller schools, unlike some of these big 5A schools in the big cities, is the opportunity to play team sports. And, if there's one thing I could leave you with tonight, if you're a young student out there, if you're a parent with young children, it's the importance of what team sports can do. My dad told me a long time ago, and I've never forgot it. He said, team sports are like life. You can learn a lot of life lessons, and I always remember that. And I've told my kids that, and my kids probably get tired of me telling things. But team sports will teach you a lot about life. Whether, if it's how to work with difficult people or handle adversity, how to act when things are going your way, or more importantly, how to act when things don't go your way. It teaches you how to put the work in and how to work well with others. So, sports really is a lot like life. So if you're young and you're on the fence and you're listening to this, if you should go out on that team or not, please look into it, because there's a lot more than just sports that you can take away from that experience the rest of your life. And I know I got that from East Greene, and it's really helped me the rest of my life. So thank you very, very much.
All right, we've come to our last inductee, and I know David said something about, he thought maybe we go youth to older. We did that last year, and Doug Reeder was the last one, and he said it's getting late for him, so he should have went first because of his age. So that's kind of why we flipped it around. So if you want to know, that's kind of why. It's his fault. Yep, it's Doug's fault. Doug's not here to defend himself. It's Doug's fault. All right. Our last inductee is Megan Durbin. Megan is a 2018 graduate of Greene County High School. And this makes her, she is going in the first year of her eligibility, because our criteria is 5 years out. So she's the first one to go in kind of like a first ballot Hall of Famer, so to speak. Her accomplishments as a high jumper in track and field is astounding. The bigger the stage, the better she was, whether it be the Drake Relays or the state track and field meet. She qualified a combined 7 times for these meets and finished first or second all 7 times. She was a Drake Relays champion in 2016 and 2018, and she finished second in 2017. And for those who may not be familiar with Drake Relays, that is one class throughout the entire state of Iowa. So she would have been competing against the largest schools in the state to the smallest schools. She qualified for the state meet all 4 years. She won the Class 3A state title in 2016, and she County High School to win both a Drake Relays and state championship. She's also the first female athlete to be a state champion for Greene County since 1994. After graduating from Greene County, Megan high jumped for Iowa State. She also played volleyball and softball for the Rams during her time here at Greene County. Megan graduated from Iowa State University in 2022. She served as the Assistant Director of Internal Football Operations for the University of Arizona in 2022. And currently, I think it's probably a pretty cool job, an internship. She's the Events and Hospitality Intern for the College Football Playoff. She is the daughter of Brett Durbin and Teresa Durbin. She resides in Dallas, Texas. Let's welcome Megan Durbin back to Greene County and the Greene County Hall of Fame.
It's really weird to hear your stats set out like that. I kind of forgot about some of them, honestly, so that's pretty cool. But hi, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. It's an honor to be here and receive this, but also being able to come home and see my family. It's my sister's birthday this weekend. Is really nice, and being able to see some familiar faces as well. I thought a lot about what I wanted to say. As you see, I don't have anything written down, so I'm kind of going on a whim here. But and my mind kept coming back to the same thing. Life moves fast, and I know it seems funny because I just graduated 5 years ago, but it seems like the older you get, the faster life moves. And although as you get older, you get more opportunities and you meet new people and everything like that, it seems like two things in life stay constant no matter how fast life is moving. Number one is God, and number two is where you're from. For me, what changed my idea of home was the group of girls from the town over that became my best friends, attending Iowa State, and those teammates who became like sisters to me, my jobs that I've had, my coworkers and everything like that. But no matter what job I have or internship, the city I live in, the state that I live in, I will always be from Jefferson, Iowa. Or as one of my dear friends and track and field officials, Jay Grunewald, would say, Megan from Greene County. And that is who I will always be, and I'm very proud to say that. But that being said, I want to say thank you, especially to my parents, my mom, my dad, my stepmom, all of my siblings, other family members. I have been a ball of energy and fire since the very beginning, and they've been nothing but supportive of me, whether that be sitting through a middle school volleyball game or helping me move across the country twice within the past year to start my career. So God couldn't have blessed me with a better support system, and I am eternally grateful. I also want to say thank you to my teachers and coaches. I mean this genuinely when I say that they have had such an influence on me back then, but also today. I remember every single one of them, the lessons they would teach me sitting in their classrooms. And teachers never get as much praise as they deserve because they are truly superheroes. So I just hope that all of you know how much you had an influence on me and just still impact my life to this day. And then lastly, I want to say thank you to the community members. You know, it's really unique coming from a small town that supports young athletes as well as Jefferson does. I specifically remember in high school, people would cut out news articles of me in the newspaper and deliver them to my parents' workplaces and just express how proud they were of me, and they had never even met me personally. So I think that just speaks volumes to the kind of people we have in Jefferson, and I couldn't be more happy to call Jefferson my home forever. So thank you.
And this brings us to the conclusion of our induction ceremony. Family members and friends, you're welcome to take pictures in here. I'm sure we have some more food out in the lobby. You can grab some things, mingle a little bit here just to celebrate tonight. We do invite you back tomorrow to our basketball game. The girls' game starts at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, and we will honor our inductees at halftime of the girls' game around 6:30. With that being said, we want to thank everyone for coming out. I really do appreciate you guys all coming tonight. I know we had 3 of our inductees that had to travel a long ways, make sacrifices for that, so we appreciate that. And Dustin had to, give up a trip to a warm place and maybe upset his wife. I don't know, but I'm not going to go there. So we do appreciate, I just appreciate you coming over and just all that you did and what the words that you said. We do live in great communities and a good area. That's one reason why I came back 2 years ago, was because I'm a family guy. So thank you for coming, and we hope you have a good evening.